And Jason, I can hand it over to you.
All right, thanks, Max. Hey guys, so yeah, sorry to just put the instructions in the Slack channel and before being able to talk to you guys kind of virtually about it, I just wanted you to get the information on there so that you had it. So yeah, just wanted to basically, because I know everyone's busy with kind of a million things going on. So I'm just going to share my screen super quick. Just wanted to kind of go through the guidelines and just kind of discuss the process real quick so that you guys have an understanding. So for the stipends, we do it on a prepaid card. Just, not everyone has bank accounts. It's worked really well for our previous cohort. So there's two things that we need to do that. It's the Focus prepaid enrollment form. And I guess if you guys don't mind giving me I think I can see it. If you can give me like a thumbs up if you have submitted this already. Uh-oh, I'm not seeing any thumbs up on here.
Was that, sorry, was that the?
Oh, I do. Okay, all right. So now I do. I'm sorry, I wasn't seeing everyone's on here. It's hard with this screen. Okay, cool. So some of you have. Awesome. I'm not seeing as many thumbs as I would like to. So, all right, cool. All right, I'm scrolling down a few more thumbs. Awesome. So in order to do it, we need you to fill out that enrollment form. And we need the W-9 forms just because it's going to be more than $600. It counts as income. I know it's kind of a pain to fill out tax stuff. Believe me, I don't like filling out tax stuff either. But if we don't get that, Center State CEO isn't going to issue the money for the students that don't do both. If some students fill out both of them, they'll get the funds. But if you yourself want the funds, you got to fill out both of those things. And then every month we have an attendance-based kind of plan. To be eligible for it, you have to attend 80% of classes for that month previously. And that's not counting like excused absences, similar to like we were talking when I was in before. There's crises that come up like, hey, my dad's sick, I need to go out of town. That's fine. If you let Max know, you let myself know. And if you're, watching YouTube videos, kind of trying to stay caught up, those aren't going to count against you. It's really like, hey, Max, where's Susie? Like, I have no idea. She hasn't been in class. She hasn't reached out. I have no idea. That's kind of what counts as the unexcused absences. So yeah, every month, I just kind of check the attendance. And if you guys are good, I send everyone whose attendance is good over to Center State CEO. And we put the schedule of the stipends on here. So, just at those dates, those are the amounts that'll be sent out to you guys on the card. Starts at 230, then the last one's 250. And so, let's see. So kind of like we talked, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, where can I see this document?
Sure.
Did you put it on Slack?
I believe I put it in Slack in the student success one. I put it in there as like a PDF. I can put yeah, but yeah, so that's in there and it has, just the same information. I'm just kind of going through it. I would have liked to go through it earlier in the week, but just wanted to make sure. But yeah, so this document's in there with all those kind of like dates. It, goes over the 80% attendance. And like we talked about before, these funds can be used for anything you want. Can be used for tech stuff, food, whatever you want. It's money that you guys are earning through participating in the program. So yeah, that is the kind of main stuff that I had. And then let's see, I get notified when people fill out the Panda doc. So I do see that quite a lot of you have already filled out the W-9s. It looks like I'm still waiting on 6 or 7 of them. So please, please, please complete those. If I don't have them this weekend, I'm going to be messaging, individually who I haven't received them from. And then by the end of Monday, I'm going to let Center State know everyone that has filled out both of them so that they can get the stipends issued for that October 21st deadline. So cool. Yeah. Any questions about any of this? Okay, cool. Well, yeah, if you think of anything later, always feel free to shoot me a message and I will do what I can to find out the information. Again, really excited. I'm glad that we can offer this again as a support to you guys for the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
And if anything pops up questions wise on this, you can always find Jason on Slack. Just shoot him a message there, and sure he can work out any questions that they do pop up. Okay, let's switch over to stand up. What did we learn yesterday?
What did we not learn yesterday?
Would you like me to open the curriculum, Doc?
No, no, I'm kidding.
I know. I'm yanking your chain too.
Divs. We learned a lot about divs.
We got into divs. We learned how we can nest our div elements. We learned a little bit about classes and IDs. What else did we learn?
Columns and rows.
Rows and columns. Yep. What grid system are we using? What's the name of the framework?
Box grid.
What's that?
The box grid.
The box model is the CSS model, but what's the framework that we're using? Bootstrap, right. Bootstrap gives us access to all of that row and column and container classes, all of that good stuff. We'll be getting into more of Bootstrap next week when we start using some different Bootstrap components, but hopefully it was a good whirlwind. Just one note that I want to throw out there is we often find in the first couple weeks that when we review the feedback form, about half of the students say that it's going way too fast, please slow down. And the other half of the students say, you're going way too slow, we need to move a little bit quicker. And so that's a really hard thing as a teacher to kind of strike that balance. The good news is over the first couple weeks, it does kind of average out, right? We get students closer. A lot of students come in with some basic HTML experience, whether that's the prep work in Code Academy, whether that's just previous experience trying to get going in coding. So everyone comes in at a different skill level, and that's why the first couple weeks are so hard in pacing, right? So if you are able to complete the weekend homework assignment, you are staying up in class. You do not need to worry about if you couldn't stay up with me while you were coding. That is totally fine. The weekend homework assignment is meant to kind of be the benchmark. If you can do that benchmark on your own, and when I say on your own, I mean totally open book, rewatching classes, using W3 schools, leaning on Free Code Camp, all those different resources that are out there. If you are able to complete the weekend homework assignment or come close to completing the weekend homework assignment, chances are you're doing fine all around in class. So I don't want people to think that just because they can't code along with me, that they are they're falling behind. That is okay. Everyone's going to learn a little differently, and we have had some of our best students actually be the students who just took notes during class and then tried it on their own time. That pacing is really stressful, right? Because you get to that point where you're like, I missed one letter that he typed and now none of my code is working. Oh my God, what do I do? That's okay. Those mistakes are much easier to find when you don't have the pressure on you. So when we take those breaks, or I say, hey, we're going to go do this little thing next, you don't necessarily have to do it with me. You just need to make sure that that comprehension is sinking in and you're capturing enough notes so that when the weekend rolls around and you go to do that assignment, you're able to take a stab at it. There are some students who can't learn this material unless they just get down in the mud with me and start coding it out. And there are other students who will be so overwhelmed, but because they took the time to just get the understanding and the exposure, when they learn it during the weekend or you know, the following morning or whenever it is, that level of understanding gets built. So I want you guys to continue using the feedback form, continue letting me know when it's going too slow or when it's going too fast. The breakout rooms are great. With the TA, if you're feeling so far behind that you're like, I have no idea what's going on, I'm not going to be able to catch up tonight, that's when you want to shoot Ariel a message and ask for a breakout room. The only problem with breakout rooms is sometimes you're only a half a step behind. And when the TA or catches you up, now you're caught up to where you were at, but when you come back into the room, it's really hard to cover what we didn't have at the time. So that's why we don't use the breakout rooms as frequently as not as frequently as we would like, but it's tricky to go into that breakout room and be able to get caught up enough, not only of where you fell behind, but also, you know, the steps that you cover while you're in that breakout room. So if you have reached the point where you're like, I'm checked out tonight, like I lost them 3 steps ago, I have no idea what's going on, I feel like I'm being drugged behind a car right now, that is a great time to say, hey, let me shoot the TA a message, let's hop into a breakout room, let's see if I can kind of salvage what's going on tonight. With that said, that's why we take the breaks. And even if you aren't coding along, even if you find that that's not the best pacing for you, I do still expect you guys to have questions, right? Just because you aren't typing it all along, you got to have that level of recognition during class at some point, right? So if at any point you just don't have that level of understanding, definitely let me know, and definitely keep filling out the feedback forms, right? Because when I'm getting all road runners, I take that into the next class and I'm like, okay, we're not even going to try and do something new today. Let's go back to road runner. Let's review. Let's make sure you have these concepts, right? So continue using that feedback form, because we are going to have a couple too slows. We are going to have a couple too fasts. The good news is that does average out over time. But I'm not a trained teacher, right? I've taught this cohort now 4 times. I have taught all of this material at least once before, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I am the world's best teacher, right? So sometimes it is very easy to get lost in like, I know what I'm doing. I don't need to build this weather project, so I'm just cruising through it, right? That is me not doing my job. My job is to make sure that you understand why we're building things the way we are and what the code is doing. So I just wanted to touch on that. I wanted to let you know that I am reading your feedback forms. We only had 2 submissions yesterday, which is totally fine. But it is always funny when we get, well, not funny, a little painful when we get 1 too fast and 1 too slow. And it's like, okay, well, we can't just average them out and say we're doing all right. We've got 1 student who's bored and 1 student who's struggling, and both of them need attention. So that's why I like to touch on that a little bit.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know if I'm wrong for saying this, but I try to code along with you as you're doing it. But it would be nice to have something afterwards with a step-by-step explanation, not just your words. Am I making sense? Like, you know how you do like the outline for the day, but kind of like an outline of, if you want this kind of code, this would be the steps. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little overwhelmed.
Yeah,
I'll just say that.
So I can definitely, I will start posting the code when we're done it for the night. I will give you guys a link where you can access that. And I'm going to go through and use the comments feature that we used last night for the first time, right? And so I will leave inline comments in all of the code, so you guys have an idea of that. With that said, we have had, we've done step-by-step before, and it kind of lulls you into this false sense of security of, well, if I'm able to do all of these steps, then I'm able to make what Max made. And then you get out in the workforce, right, which I know is a big jump. And then you're like, well, where's the step-by-step guide to be able to build this? Right. And so I don't want to say it's a little dangerous, because we certainly will be putting steps into our code when it starts to get a little bit more complicated, because it isn't just, here's the 30 lines of code that makes this show up. We're going to get to the point where we've got code in different files. We've got things going on in the front end. We've got things going on in the back end. And that step-by-step is helpful to be able to see the flow through things. But what's more important than being able to actually write the code is being able to understand that code. Why are we putting in a container? What's the difference between a class and ID? Why do we need another div here? Why is this div in this div, right? All of those things, it's very hard to realize that you're learning that, but
Mhm.
you are, right? And
Mhm.
so getting out of that kind of step-by-step mindset is even though we're only on week 2, is getting you ready for the workforce, because when you get out there, you're not going to have that step-by-step guide, because what you're building is going to be different for every company, every project, everything.
Okay.
But with that said, I will definitely step up the inline documentation and share that code with you guys, the beginning of next class. I'll figure out whatever system we're going to use for that, so that you can go in and start to read those comments and understand, hey, the line beneath this comment, this is what it's going to try and do. So thank you for that feedback.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Jennifer, go ahead.
Thank you. I was just gonna say for you, Exona, and for anyone, I'm finding the cheat sheets to be awesome. Like the cheat sheet for CSS. That's like, if you want this, here's the code you have to write for it. If you want that, here's the code you have to write for that. It reminds you, like what attributes, what values and such, that we have to do. And on Code Academy, they also have a lot of free sheets. So does the MDN docs. And yeah, they have a lot of information too, where you can just print out like all of the all the tags. So hopefully that'll be helpful for you.
Yeah, and everyone learns differently, right? So oftentimes you'll find that resource on the screen and it just won't hit the same way as having that printed copy and having it next to you, right next to your notebook, and being able to look down and reference that, right? So everyone, I mean, I have a notebook next to me all day long, right? And I am keeping track of all the tasks that pop up, what I'm getting done, prioritizing all of that, because while project management systems like Trello and Jira and all of that stuff is great, sometimes when you're just so overwhelmed, when you have such a busy day going on, I have found that nothing beats pen and paper, right? Everyone learns differently. In college, I hated writing notes because I could type faster than I could write. And so I typed all of my notes. And now that I'm in the workforce, 180 from that. I find that slowing down and having to write down the task that I need to do gives me the chance to think about that task and prioritize it into my list. But everyone is different. And so when you find those resources that are super helpful, if they're not already on the outline, definitely call them out during class or shoot me a Slack message. I'll review them and get them into the outlines, because everyone learns differently. And so those resources are super important. Alba, go ahead.
Yeah, the same for me. I mean, I try to keep up with typing, but I'm a really slow typer and I have to look at my keyboard while I'm typing. So I kind of miss some of the lines and stuff like that. I actually catch myself up and keep on doing it as you're speaking, so I could code along with you. But then as soon as I'm done with the day, I'll open a new folder and then I try to apply it myself to see if it actually works. And because it's still fresh in my mind and I could actually call it and I could actually remember what I'm doing. And then I save that and then I try to go back in the morning to refresh my mind about what I just went over or what I just did, just to make sure that it's sinking in. And then if I don't remember something, I'll go back to the cheat sheets for W3 school and for the CDN and the bootstrap, and I'll look exactly what I'm trying to do to reference it.
That's a great practice. And the other thing that we've had students do is take their code when they're done with it, and they go in and put their own inline comments in it, right? So they start going through and, just because I comment out a file doesn't mean that the way I put my comments in means that's the way that you understand it, right? So One of our top graduates of cohort 2 was notorious for taking the file when we were done and going in and putting their own inline comments through all of the code and sharing it with the other students. And the other students are like, oh, now I get it, right? Like, but that level, and even if you want to print out the code, if you have a printer and just handwrite notes on the side of it, sometimes that's a better approach too. But those level of, let me just, every line is telling the computer something different. What are we trying to tell the computer here, right? And sometimes it's obvious, okay, this is the thing that's going in the H1. Maybe I don't need to leave a comment for that because that's what's showing up. But going through and getting that level of understanding, it takes a lot of time, right? And that's why I think I interviewed every one of you at this boot camp, and I said it's 20+ hours a week, right? And initially you're like, well, where do those other 8+ hours come from? There's only 12 hours in class. How tough could this really be? Because all of that time is going back through and going, wow, we went really freaking fast in class last night. What did we actually learn? And it's tough to do that because it's not, it's self-paced in understanding, but not self-paced in terms of class, right? We gotta go at 80 miles an hour because there's no other way to get through all of the content. We know because we've done this. Trust me, you're not going to get to week 25 and be like, oh, I'm sorry, to week 20 and then be like, oh, we're out of stuff to do. Trust me, we've got plenty of stuff to cover. And this is all what local employers have said, right? They're all driving our curriculum. They've all looked at that. And the program is not for everyone because it is super fast and it takes a ton of time to invest into it. But we also have the career placements from our previous cohorts to know that it does work. Right. So if you do make it through the program, there are plenty of opportunities to take that ridiculously huge amount of stuff that we crammed into these 24 weeks and go get a job and actually use it. If I didn't believe in that, trust me, I would not be here teaching. I already had a great full-time job and Jesse came to me and I was like, ooh, I cannot pass this up. I really want to teach full-time too. And so that's why I still work at both jobs, but this is a proven model, right? No, we're not a super established cohort. No, we don't have 20,000 graduates, but we do know the model works. Christina, go ahead.
You said, so if we get through the program, instead of saying, so when you get through the program,
Sorry.
Is there a speed like that you have to be at to be like professionally a coder? Like, I remember back in the day, you know how there was like Mavis Beacon typing tutor, you had to be like, is there one for like,
there is
you
not
know what I'm trying to say?
I do. I can't articulate the question either, but I know what your question is.
Okay.
There is no, and I do have an answer. That's the good news. There is no easy metric to say, oh, right, typing is a pretty easy one. You got to be able to type at 50 words a minute in order to be in a secretary role or whatever it is, right? There is no base metric for that. To be able to say like, oh, you need to be able to write 20 lines of code in 30 minutes or something like that. That doesn't exist. And the reason that doesn't exist is as a senior developer, as someone who now manages a team, there are some times that I write 20 lines of code in a day. And there are some days that I write 2,000 lines of code in a day. And there are times that the 20 lines of code is way harder than the 2,000 lines of code. It really, really depends, right? If I'm writing HTML and just building out front ends, I can easily write 2,000 lines of code and run into no issues. But when I'm working in the back end in the database and implementing an entire feature from scratch and figuring out how that impacts the user interface and all of that stuff, I may be doing something super advanced that just cannot be accomplished with, quick code written out. We've got 80 lines of code that import the entire FDA database. It is 15 gig worth of data on every drug, over the counter, and pharmaceutical and cosmetic item. It is available to download for anyone from the FDA data set. It is 15 gig worth of data. I think it has 14 million rows in it. It is huge. We import all of that data with like 80 to 100 lines of code. That 80 to 100 lines of code took us 3.5 days to write. But look at what it accomplished, right? So while lines of code are certainly not a good metric for measuring productivity, they're an easy metric for measuring productivity, right? However, most employers will recognize that lines of code do not directly equate to how many features you're completing. And that's when it gets more into the project management side of things of, hey, we work together as a team and we do something called story pointing in Agile. Normally, this is the way it's done. And story pointing is saying, how hard do you think it's going to be to get this task done? And you'll work with your senior developers around you, and you'll look at that and be like, that'll take me a week. And a senior developer will look at that and say, no, that should only take you 3 days. And then when you complete that task, you go into the next sprint planning and you're able to say, yeah, I actually completed that. That only took 3 days, or, oh, that took 5 days. So now you start a discussion with your whole team of, why did that take you 5 days? Because you were inexperienced, because you had to do research, or because this other thing popped up that even the senior developer didn't anticipate being part of that task. And so story points are often how we measure productivity in a team environment, in an agile environment where you'll have a project manager. But if you're working at a small company, they may just be measuring it in, is the client happy, or are users happy, all of that kind of stuff. And to add even more complexity to that, it depends on the role. Because if you're a front-end only developer, you may be expected to be able to make an entire web page in a week, say, or maybe even a couple days. But if you're a full stack developer, if you're working on a feature that involves the database and an API and all of that stuff, that may take you longer, because not only do you have to build out the whole web page, you've got to build out all the interactivity in it. So while there is no easy metric and lines of code is not the most accurate one, there is certainly something to be said about measuring productivity. But that is not something that you can just take a test on and know that you're at a proficient level.
Cool. Thank you.
Unfortunately, you will learn that if you ask a question, there's very rarely a short answer from me. With that said, tonight is really simple. I want to go through 3 quick reminders, 4 quick reminders. 1, indentation matters. I think you guys are starting to get a taste of this from last night, right? All those divs, those pesky closing tags, really hard to keep track of. But if you get your indentation right, those closing tags start lining up, and it's easier to see when you've got an extra one or you're missing one or something like that. So indentation really matters. Just because the computer can read your code and just because the output of your code looks right does not mean that other developers would be able to read your code. I will instantly reject any merge request. We'll get into merge requests later with Git and how those work. But basically, when someone sends me code at work and says, I would like to push this into production, I would like this to be out on the internet, they open what is called a merge request. They are requesting to merge their code into our main code base. I will reject any code base, any merge request that has improper indentation, because that improper indentation means that I don't really know if this div is part of another div or it's in that div, right? And so that indentation really matters. We're going to go over a tool next week called Prettier, but you got to suffer through it without tools like that for a week or 2 before we expose you to it. So if you're really feeling ambitious this weekend, you can check out Prettier, but we'll be covering that towards the end of next week for indentation. We are off on Monday for class for Indigenous Peoples Day. So you've got Monday completely off. Ariel, if you don't mind, can you adjust the weekend homework assignment to be due on Monday instead of Sunday?
Yeah, I'll do that right now.
Thank you. So you get an extra day of working on homework. The good news is I have plenty of optional assignments in there for you. Because we are in HTML for the next couple weeks, those optional assignments will still be applicable for the next couple weeks. So if you are bored, you're twiddling your thumbs, you want additional things to do, I have a feedback form and a mock-up for that. You can try doing that project. But what I recommend is the free code camp exercises in Canvas listed under the optional assignments. Those exercises are going to get you to a deeper level of understanding because they break it down into so many small pieces that when all those pieces come together collectively, they're much easier to learn. Those optional assignments are all listed under here, under basic HTML, basic CSS, and applied visual design. If you pop in any one of those, it will show you what challenges I recommend. So this one, I recommend doing all 28. There are some of them where I'm like, you don't really need to know that. And so I may not recommend absolutely all of them. So for applied visual design, I'm like the first 32 are the most helpful, right? So if you are looking for additional work, if you feel like you're still struggling a little bit, it's a boot camp. If you don't feel like you're struggling, we're doing something wrong. But these are some additional resources that I have for you guys. And then I will also get that pre-reading up at the end of class tonight so that you have additional resources going into week 3. Just keep in mind that this is only week 1 of HTML. And if you scroll up and go to the schedule, you can see that we are in HTML and CSS land all the way up until week 5, right? So we're only in the first week of HTML, week 2 of the overall program. We have an additional 3 weeks after tonight's class to get you guys using and understanding these concepts. And trust me, we will be building a ton of projects so you get that hands-on experience. With that said, office hours will be Sunday at 5 o'clock. No one showed up in person last week, which is totally fine. So they will be fully virtual this Sunday. And there is one additional homework assignment. I know one student has filled it out already. Thank you. That is going to be under the, where is it? Is it hanging out all the way at the bottom? Odd.
Is it in the assignments?
This is the week 2 poll.
It's the week 2 poll.
Hmm.
That was supposed to show up in the...
I have it under assignments.
Ariel, another task for you. Can you figure out, oh, you know what? I think I know how to do it. Never mind. If I go to here and here, now I can get the week 2 poll and add it. And it can be all the way down here and then bring it up. So there is also a week 2 poll. Sorry, the modules I find is my preferred way of keeping things organized. It was under assignments, but this week 2 poll is also due on Sunday night. This is like 5 questions. It won't take you more than 10 minutes to do, and it just really helps us get a better gauge of who wants a co-working membership, who prefers in-person classes, all of that stuff. Remember that this whole hybrid world is new to us. We've done fully remote cohorts. We've done fully in-person cohorts. The 3rd cohort was mostly virtual with a touch of in-person, but this is your chance to kind of sound off. This also does name pronunciation. So I will be studying this Monday night. And so on Tuesday, I will try to go through all of your names, make sure I'm saying them right, because name pronunciation is really, really important. Even if you're used to it being pronounced wrong, you being called by your name the right way is important. So we'll go through that quickly on Tuesday and just make sure that I can pronounce your guys' names or preferred nicknames, just because that is important. Okay, back to my reminders because I can't even remember all of them.
Hey, Max, real quick, do you want me to
Yes.
move the other polls out of those sections into it correctly later? Like
There's
polls out of assignment, or is it that the only one? I thought I
That-
saw one more.
I don't think there are other polls. That's the
Okay.
only poll because it's kind of like a one-off kind of thing.
Okay.
But thank you for offering.
Yeah.
And finally, Open Hack is going to be on Thursday, 10/13. That means that we will not have class, but I am hoping to see almost all of you in person if you can make it for Open Hack. If you can make it, this is a week from today. Head to the outline and click on this meetup link. I will also drop the meetup link into the live stream in Slack so you guys can get easier access to it. And just RSVP to this if you guys can. It just gives Mike, the organizer of the event, a better idea of how many Jimmy John sandwiches to bring. So dinner is provided, or light snacks and refreshments and drinks and stuff like that. This is an opportunity. It is at 6 o'clock, not at 5:30. If you want to show up a little early, you can. Starts at 6 o'clock. It says 9 o'clock is the end time. Sometimes it fizzles out a little earlier. Sometimes it goes until then, whatever. This is a chance to socialize with other developers. I know that is a heart-pounding moment for some of you guys. That is okay. Part of careers in code is understanding that most careers come from networking. And so this is an opportunity to meet developers from all over the spectrum. Some are junior developers who have even less coding experience than you guys. Some of them are senior IT people who run hospital networks. Some people don't even code. Some people focus on hardware. It's really all over the map. And so this is your chance to kind of get out of your little bubble and expand the horizons while still being in this safe little tech community. No one is here to rip you down. No one is here. Everyone who is part of this event is just there to hang out with other like-minded people. And so that's why we'll be attending this next Thursday. So next week's class, 2 tiny little short days, but that does not mean that Thursday is optional. Would really, really like to see you all there if you can make it there. If you can't, it's no big deal. I understand that logistics and transportation can be hard, but if you can make it, I really encourage you guys to make it. It's not absolutely mandatory. It is highly, highly encouraged to attend on Thursday.
And if anyone needs a ride and lives in the Eastwood area or Syracuse area, just let me know. I'm more than happy to pick you up.
Yeah, and definitely use your back channel to coordinate any rides, because definitely ride sharing is not only good for you guys attending, it's also good for the environment, of course. And getting to know each other. So this is a good social opportunity, not just for other developers, but for you guys to be in person without having to go a mile a minute during class. Any questions about Open Hack or any of these reminders in general?
Quick question. Without me pressing the RSVP button, is it at Lemoyne or someplace else?
Great question. It is at Common Space downtown. So it is Common Space is like 1 block over from Landmark Theater. It's a block over and up from the library downtown. It's a block up from the Tech Garden. It's like 2 or 3 blocks down from City Hall. So pretty central downtown. You can park on the street. Parking is free after 5:30 or 6 o'clock. So you can grab any street parking space. And then I'm not sure if they've got a picture of the front door because that's always helpful. But the entrance is right next to Pavone's Pizza. It will say Common Space Work. When you walk in, it will be like a marble lobby. You can either take don't take the stairs. Take the elevator up to the 2nd floor. The stairs has a keypad code on it. Take the elevator up to the second floor, walk out, and then everyone will kind of be clustered in that area. If you RSVP on Meetup, Mike will drop you the door code. You have to like enter a pin to get into the lobby area. But when he does that, I will also post it into the students group so you guys have access to it. And if anything comes up, I always have my phone on me and Slack available. So if anything comes up, feel free to shoot me a message and we'll come find you and bring you up to the right spot if you get lost.
I just posted the address into this chat. It's
Perfect.
351 South Warren.
Yes.
Can I ask a quick question? Just, is it casual? Because I don't really dress up unless I have to.
It is very much casual.
Okay.
This is the entrance, by the way. It's right between like a grocery store, like a grocery a corner store, and Pavone's Pizza. I don't know that the giant 351 is there anymore, but this is their door right in front of the mailboxes. Thank you, Google. Hopefully that is not a copyright issue. Yes, very casual. You will find very few people in collared shirts there. Everyone wears a t-shirt because a t-shirt is a developer's dress code. Any other questions? I know this is always a lot at the beginning of class. Hopefully it gives you guys a chance to rev up, get all those questions out, because we are diving into our weather project tonight. But as with most projects, the best starting point is not in your code. It is planning things out. So we're going to use a tool that is built into the Mac called Preview. This is something that if you would like to follow along with me, you totally can. But you do not have to, and I will post the final result of what we have in what we've made in Preview into the Slack channel so that you can reference it. Whenever we are working with the grid system, sometimes it's hard to be able to tell where those grid lines begin and where they end when we're looking at a mockup. So we are going to go through the steps right now of what I call reverse wireframing something, taking a mockup and breaking it down into the little components so that when we start coding it out, it's much easier to identify our different divs and kind of where things should go. So if you go to, oh, my bad, I don't have the mockup link on that outline. Ooh, stand by.
Max, wasn't it that mock-up underline where it brought us to the feedback form?
That was for the feedback form one. We need the weather app one.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No problem. The beauty of Google Docs is now the link is there. Okay, so if we click on the mockup link here and click on the weather app screenshot, that's going to open us up into a new tab. Again, you can follow along if that's how you learn. You don't have to follow along if you just want to go for the ride and just take notes. Up here in the top right, there's a little download button. We're going to click on download. And down here at the bottom, it's going to put it in our download.
You're not sharing.
Not sharing, Max.
Rewind. Try this again. Okay, mock up here. You can click on the link. When you click on the link, there is a little download button up here in the top right. You can click that download button. It will show you it down here. Or if you go down into your doc, this is your downloads folder and will show everything in there. I'm going to just click on it down here. You can open it from your doc. It doesn't matter. Okay, this is an application called Preview. Preview is meant, to be a very quick way for you to preview JPEGs or PNGs, different images, PDF files, all of that. It is one of the most underestimated programs on the Mac. The Mac has all great kinds of tools built into Preview. For one, if you click on this little pen icon right to the left of the search bar, that's going to bring you into a toolbar called mockup. Unfortunately, I can't make this toolbar any bigger because I know seeing all of this on a small screen is hard. So if you're struggling to see parts of the screen share, just let me know and I can articulate kind of what we're clicking on. We're not going to click on this, but there is a little signature tool up here that is a very quick way to virtually sign PDFs if you ever need to. So you can actually sign your name out on your trackpad, or if you have an iPhone, there's a really cool feature where you can click on your phone, sign your name on your phone, and it will just appear on your Mac, which I think is really cool. New feature they added. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using this rectangle tool. So it is kind of in the second section. If you hover over it, it will say shapes. We're going to click on the shapes and then go down to the rectangle here. Now that we're in the rectangle, it dropped in this rectangle for me. Your rectangle may look a little different. The two things that we need to adjust are, one, the fill of the rectangle. That's going to be the shape, the right next to the AA. This lets you pick the fill of your rectangle. So if you would like it to be orange, you could fill it in orange. However, having a fill in our rectangle isn't going to be helpful for us because we need to be able to see what's in the rectangle. You'll see why in a moment. For that reason, we're going to go back up to that one and click the one with the little red slash through it. That's going to make it so that there's no fill, or the fill of the rectangle is transparent. The other one that we care about is the square with the hole in the middle of it. That dictates our outer line color or our border color. So if we click on that and we make it red, you'll see our rectangle changes to red. So any questions on that? Yes, Karen. And then Christina, I'll come to you next.
So in order to, I clicked on downloads, and I'm trying to pull up I guess I'm trying to figure out how I have the rectangle, but I don't see where I can add the colors. It's like not shaded. It doesn't look like.
So share your screen.
Okay.
Okay, so what you need is the little markup button right up here. It might be under the Zoom toolbar.
I see. Let me just see if I can move this. Okay.
Okay, and now that you're in here, you can go to the little shapes icon over here.
I see.
And grab the rectangle there.
Okay.
And now you can use this to change the border and this to change the fill if you wanted to.
I see. Okay. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Yeah, I know it's tiny on my screen, so, no big deal. If anyone needs help finding it, just let me know.
Okay. Thank you.
Christina, do you still need help?
I'm trying to find my download. Okay, here it is. Okay, so I have the square. And oh, what is going on? Okay, so I got the square. What after we get the square and we put it, I got lost after the square.
Okay, all we've done is
We're gonna
change.
put it over Thursday.
Nope, we haven't moved it at all. All we went over was the border color and the fill color.
Okay, so border color red and the fill blue.
Fill empty. That slash makes the fill transparent.
Wait, okay, border color. Okay, what do I do for border?
We just made it red.
Okay, And then there's fill is nothing, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
transparent. Yep. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start identifying our rows and our columns here. So we're gonna make our rows in red. So we're gonna take our row and drag it all the way out, because remember, we can't use any columns until we have our rows identified. Now we're gonna go back up and grab another rectangle and draw and move that so that it's covering the next section. So now we say, all right, whatever we're going to build is going to have 2 div class rows. Okay, now we get to identify the different columns. So I'm going to go back up and I'm going to get a new rectangle, but instead of everything being red, I'm going to change that color to like light. That's probably hard for you guys to see, isn't it? Change it to green. Okay, now we get to identify our columns here in their relative size. So to me, it looks like that is in one column. Then I can hit Command C and Command V, and it will give me another box that I can lay out. Hey, that's convenient. That looks like that column size and this column size are the same. I wonder if we're going to use that. Okay, now I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm going to move this one over. And hey, would you look at that? That content all kind of nicely fits into the box. Okay, now for this last one, you might be tempted to come over all the way to here. But if you come all the way over to here, how are we going to take all of the content here and push it so it's over there? The trick that we're going to do in the code is actually have this be one big giant column, and then we are going to align the text over to the right-hand side. Now, wait a second, this is convenient. If we've got 12 columns, it almost looks like this is half of the screen. This is another 2 of the 12, another 2 of the 12, and 2 of the 12. Now, just looking at the mock-up, we probably never would have been able to see that. But now that we've got that visual, when we go into our code, it's going to be much easier to say, okay, what's supposed to be in this div? The cloud icon's supposed to show in that div, or the 48 and the 2 temperatures at the bottom, right? The 2 units. Okay, now this makes it much easier to say we're going to have a row. In that row, we are going to have a 2, a 2, a 2, and a 6. Okay, we're going to just do that at the same time. We're going to come down here and say, all right, my first column is there. My second column looks like it's right about there. My next column looks like it's right about there. And I'm just Command C and Command V-ing to copy these around. Okay, that looks pretty easy, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, crap. 12 divided by 5 does not give me anything pretty. We'll come back to that in our code. Does anyone have any questions about this exercise? It may make more sense why we go through this once we start coding it out. Karen, go ahead.
Yes. Is there a way that you can go back from what you just did, like a reverse, when you're doing this?
You can Command Z to undo your step, or you can click on any rectangle and just hit the delete button, and that will also clear it out.
Got it. Thank you.
Arturo.
Yeah, so that first red rectangle that you made, I was able to make that, but I don't know how to make the second one or like.
So we're going to go back up to the rectangle, the shapes tool, and down to a rectangle.
Okay.
That's going to kind of put it right in the middle of the screen. Then I go back up to my border color and I change it to green. And then I'm able to position it just like I positioned the red one.
Okay, and the shortcut, instead of keep going up there, is to do the Command C and Command V. Once
if you make sure it's highlighted, yes, Command C it and then Command V it. It will kind of paste it a little bit over, and then you can just grab that and drag that to where you want.
Okay.
Elle, go ahead.
So what if you, because I did it as a mistake, but would it work if you did 3 columns
3 columns where?
that were even? Like, I can share my screen because I'm gonna fix it if this is not gonna work.
Sure, go for it.
Okay, can you see this?
No, your screen share didn't start yet.
Darn it. Okay, which one is it? This, okay. Yeah, like this.
That's odd. It says you started it, but we still can't see it. Or is that just me? Try starting your screen share one more time. Sorry.
Yeah, I
Maybe the
clicked on
third
it.
time is the charm.
I hope so. Hold on. Can you see it?
I cannot.
That's so crazy. Can I take a screenshot? And put it in
Yeah,
the-
you can screenshot it and just post it in the live share channel, the live stream channel in Slack.
Okay.
Christine, I'm just catching up on Slack. You asked about the questionnaire about the common space or the co-working membership. That is the week 2 poll in Canvas.
Okay, how do I delete if I have too many squares?
Just select the square by kind of getting it on the edge and then hitting the delete button on your
Thank you.
keyboard. So you could do that, Elle, but you're going to run into some issues of getting the cloud positioned next to the 48 degrees. The reasoning behind that is the grid is the easiest way to lay out our content. So while you could take that approach and have it in one big column, it would just be some additional CSS code you would have to write to get that positioning correct.
Okay, because where the blue boxes is where I was saying like they would be the same thing as your green boxes. So I still need, it would be easier if I did it the way that you're doing it.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this screenshot and I'm going to share it in the Slack channel. So if you guys want to reference this, like I'm going to be throughout class, you are more than welcome to use mine. You don't necessarily have to do these boxes on your own. This is just for reference. Okay, so we are going to go through all of the steps of getting our code set up. So I am going to open my VS Code. Oh, Archel, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time copying the boxes.
Okay, so make sure it's selected, meaning that there are going to be these 4 little or all the blue dots around it.
Okay.
And then Command C to copy. And then Command V to paste. And then make sure you kind of get it on the edge and then you can move it around wherever you would like.
So does the hand have to be on it?
The hand has to be on it if you want to move it.
But I mean to copy it, because I have the 4. Well, not the 4. So I have the blue circles on the edge.
Okay, so Command C and then Command V.
All right, Command C. It doesn't look like it's giving me another one.
On the Command V?
Yeah, all right. Hold on, let me do it again. All right, Command C. Can I share my screen real quick?
Yep, go for it.
All right, let me lower my hand. Okay.
Okay, so click on the green just so that you've got that app focused. Okay, Command C. Command V. And now you can grab that and move it out.
Thank you.
No
I
problem.
wasn't doing the V after. That's where I was messing up.
Okay,
Now
You're
I'm good.
gonna-
Thank you.
cool. So we're gonna dive into our code. I'm gonna go, open VS Code either from your dock or from applications or from the Launchpad, whatever you prefer. We're gonna go to File, Open Folder up at the top. We are already in our week 2 folder. If you're not in your week 2 folder, you can head over to the desktop, open up your My Code, open up week 2. And now that we're in here, we're going to open up day 4 and hit create. And then we are going to hit open. Now that we've done that, I'm going to go up to the top. I'm going to get to my new file, and I'm going to call my file index.html. Then I'm going to put in my final tags, and then we're going to take a break. So we're going to say HTML. We're going to put in our head tag. Our head gets a title. That's going to say weather. I'm going to move my cursor outside of the head tag, hit enter, and create my body. And then I'm going to put in hello. From there, I can hit the go live button and see hello in my browser. If you see hello in the browser, you are all caught up and can vote yes in that poll. Or if you're not coding along with me, you can hit no, but keep going, and that's totally fine. While you guys are getting that set up, I have also put the coding live share link into the live stream, so you can join me if you would like to follow along with me in the code. Jennifer.
No, I haven't caught up to this part yet. That's what I was trying to figure out. So,
You want to share your screen?
I think I have to accept your invitation, but that went away, I think. Let me share my screen here. Trying to see which one I need to give you.
Okay.
Wrong one. Trickiest part is trying to figure out like which one I have to do, and now I can't see you. I'm just gonna stop for a minute.
Okay.
Maybe somebody else go.
Okay. We've got 9 votes in on the poll out of 15 students in class. That tells me you guys are still working on it. That's totally fine. Artrell, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I need help. I'm gonna share my screen with you.
Go for it.
All right. All right, so trying to follow along with what you were telling me to do.
Yep.
All right, so
you got your day 4 open already over on that left-hand side.
right. So should I go over or just still go up to file?
Nope, you've got everything done over in this window here because you've got your day 4 folder open already. So if you click on the little arrow here, that's going to open up your day 4 files.
Okay.
Now there's nothing in them, so you go ahead and hit the new file icon, and now you can call that index.html.
Index.html. Okay.
And now you can get your code going in that.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Max, are you able to delete files or folders if you identified it wrong? Like instead of putting day 4 as a folder, I put it as a file. Are you able to delete it?
The easiest way to do that is to head over to Finder.
Okay.
I'm not sharing my screen.
Oh,
Head over to Finder down at the bottom, navigate your way to your desktop.
Yes.
Get into your My Code, and then from here, if you right click on anything, you can go to move to trash and go ahead and get rid of it.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
right, we got that.
Snyder, go ahead.
Question regarding our HTML structure. Are we gonna do the doc type thing anytime soon, or is that not required?
We will start there next week.
Oh, okay, my bad.
It is recommended, but not required.
Oh, it's recommended? I thought that was a requirement. I thought you needed that so the web page can like get to working or something.
Nope. Our webpage works perfectly fine because you can see it in the browser. So it is helpful for the browser for the doc type, but we'll get to that a little bit later. It's actually more important for international translation than it is for the browser itself.
Gotcha.
Hi, I'm sorry. Can
Yeah,
you hear
no
me?
problem. Yes.
So I went to share, but then I don't see my VS Code. I only see yours. So
Okay,
mine.
so go File, New Window. And then yours will be listed under that recent section. So you can just click on D4 and it will pop back open.
Thank you.
No problem. Jennifer, go ahead.
So I figured out that I'm having the opposite problem. I have my code up there. But
Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go, there are a couple ways of doing it, but over here on the left, that's not going to be helpful for you. You're going to go File, New Window. File, New Window is going to pop you open in a different window. You can then go to the Live Share section over on the left and get into Join. And then do not, if it says down at the bottom, Continue as Anonymous, you can click on Continue as Anonymous.
it
If
won't let me do that one.
It won't let you do what?
I click on live share and then it just goes to like a circle that's thinking because it wants me to sign in again.
Share your screen.
Okay, that should be there, yeah.
Okay, yep. So just click, let me request remote control here for a second. You should have an allow on one of your two monitors.
There it is.
Thank you. Okay, so go away. Okay.
Can you mute it?
The escape button is what got me out of that. So if you go now to join, down here at the bottom, you're going to get a continue as anonymous. And now you can hit enter for your name and then paste in the URL from Slack.
Okay, thank you.
Christina, go ahead.
I can't find your code, so I can catch up.
Okay, so share your screen. Okay, go over to your VS Code.
Oh, I had to move it over. Okay. Okay,
Okay.
I have two. Hold on.
Okay, so this is yours. So we're going to leave that one alone. For this one over here, hit Open System Preferences, click on the lock in the bottom left. Put your finger on the sensor and then hit zoom there. Yeah, perfect. Okay, now I can take control. Okay, so over here, it looks like you joined the live share. No, you didn't. Let me back your way out of this.
The other one, it says, I'm on live, I think.
So you're gonna hit, this is your code over here. Over here, we're gonna go to join, and then we need the link from Slack. So if we go to Slack, let me see. Okay, No, that's the outline. We need Slack.
Oh, on the bottom here.
Yeah. Okay. So here we go to live stream. Can scroll down. We can copy this link. We can go back to VS Code and paste it. And now, once it connects to my computer, you can see my code.
Thank you.
Kalai, go ahead.
Just trying to find out how to automatically live share my whatever I'm posting, so that as soon as I do Control S, I can see it live, right, in my stuff. So
Yep.
I forgot how to do that one.
Yep. In the bottom right, there should be a button that says Go Live.
It says just live share.
So in the bottom right, there should be a button that says Go Live. So right down here, it should say LF, HTML, and Go Live.
1 second. Where are you talking? So sorry.
Down at the bottom of the window, it will say HTML and then Go Live.
Okay, I can do that. Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yep. Anyone else need help? You know, this is painful, but we do get better at this over time. You probably don't realize it, but this took you guys like an hour and a half to do the first time we did it. Now this is only the third time we're doing it, and you're getting more in that flow, right? You're going to be creating a lot more of these files over the next several weeks. So you get better at doing that setup and getting all of your code maintained, and having that organization now means that when you get to getting started on your capstone, you won't have several copies of your capstone scattered all around your computer and not knowing which one to work on. And, you know, wait, I put this one and this one over here, and then this one's named 2, but then I put that one in another folder. Or, you know, it's not like our TA would have done anything like that or anything.
I was literally typing. I have 87 capstone project files, you guys, and I'm still going through them. Don't do that. Just don't do it. Listen to him. He's right.
Karen, go ahead.
So after we click on live share.
Not live share.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Are you trying to join my session or see your own code?
I'm trying to join your session.
Okay, then you do click on live share. So you click on the live share icon over here on the left.
Yes.
And let me do it in a new window so you can actually see. Then you're going to click on join down here.
Hang tight. I see only a few things. I see W2, I see outline, I see timeline. That's it.
Share your screen for me.
Okay.
Okay. You're stuck in this sign-in screen that Jennifer got stuck in as well. So go ahead and hit the escape button for me, and that will get you that sign in out of the way.
Okay.
And then you're also in. Let me request remote control. Where did your sidebar go? If we put our mouse over on the right here, does that? Let me come out of full screen mode. How did you get rid of your sidebar?
You know, I don't know.
I couldn't do that if I tried.
Oh Lord. All kinds of code. That's not even real. I stumped Max. Did I stump Max?
Word wrap sticky scroll. Okay, let's try this. What if we just quit out of it and ask it to come back?
You think it might be in view appearance and then the,
Second sidebar?
yeah,
I opened that, but the second sidebar is like this over here.
and the primary sidebar is where it says W2.
Yeah. To the Google machine. VS Code sidebar icons missing.
I thought you had to search up Visual Studio Visual Code. Not on Google, but on the computer.
The workaround, right click, enable all the views. Right click. Right click where?
Max, if it's okay with you while you're doing that, do you mind if I take a breakout room quick?
Sure.
All the
Thank you.
activity bar is under view, under appearance, activity bar.
Thank you. View, appearance, activity bar. Aha! Thank you for that. Okay, now you can get into join, continue as anonymous, and type in your name and then paste.
OMG. Thank you.
Who did you need the breakout room with, Ariel?
Jennifer, I was trying to add myself and I couldn't.
Yeah, so I tried to close a window and I thought, well, I don't want this window anymore, so I quit it. But it quit all of the VS Code.
Yeah, when you quit, you're quitting the entire application, which closes all the windows. You wanted the close window, not quit application.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get back to where I was and
Okay. I opened a breakout room for you guys to go into.
thank you.
So Max, so then do I go in and I paste your link?
Correct.
Okay, joining collaborations. Do you have to add me or something? It's
Nope, it should just take a second and then put you in.
Huh. It says invalid collaboration session URL.
Okay, just make sure you go back and copy it and make sure there's not a space at the beginning or end of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Instead of trying to highlight it, just 2-finger click it. And it should say copy link.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we're gonna keep rolling here. We need the bootstrap grid because we've already identified in our layout that we need a grid, right? So in order to go get bootstrap, we're gonna do the same exact steps that we did last night. We're gonna go to getbootstrap.com. We're going to click on docs in the top left. We're going to scroll down to this number 2 section. We're going to grab the link tag all the way over to the end of it, all the way till you see cross origin anonymous. We're going to copy that. We're going to go back into our code, and right at the right underneath our head tag, we're going to go ahead and paste that link. Go through those steps one more time. Getbootstrap.com. Click on docs in the top left. In introduction, scroll down to the number 2. You want to grab the link tag, copy, go all the way over to highlight all of it, hit copy. Make sure you don't have anything highlighted underneath of it. Like I did, that little pesky head was there. So you want to make sure that you only get the link itself. Copy that, come back over to our code, go to our head section and go ahead and paste in that link. If everything went well, you'll notice your weather hello has changed to be the Arial font. Maybe that's Helvetica. I can never tell those two apart. Oh, it's the Apple System UI. Today I learned. Huh. Okay, now that we've got our hello in, anyone have Bootstrap issues?
It is sending me to a non-website.
To a what?
It's just sending me, it says bootstrapscomingsoon.com. It's not sending me to the.
Are you on getbootstrap.com? Do you have Bootstrap spelled right?
Yeah, she forgot the get because I went there before.
Yeah.
And then I had to go put get Bootstrap, not Bootstrap.
Yeah, it's GET bootstrap.com. Bootstrap.com won't take you there.
And the same link as before, correct?
Number 2, yeah.
And
Once I get, I'm sorry, once I get to getbootstrap.com, where do I go?
The docs up at the top.
Oh, the docs. Okay,
and,
thank you.
And then you can scroll down in that page down to the link.
Okay, yeah, I did that. Thank you.
Yep. All right. That's all the boring stuff. We're all set up. We've got our files ready to go. We are ready to write some code. We are going to do that so that you guys go into break feeling invigorated. So we're going to go back to our body section here. I can actually close out the docs. We're done with that now. I'm going to reposition my browser windows just a little bit in my VS Code window so we can see most of what's going on. And if we look at our preview, what did we identify? We've got 2 rows that we've got to deal with, right? But those 2 rows, before we can use a row, we want to put everything in a container, right? So everything is ready to go in Bootstrap. So what we're going to do is I'm going to delete out my word hello, and I'm going to do my div class equals container. And inside of my container, we've already identified we need 2 rows. So we're going to make them. We're going to say div class equals row. And I'm using my arrow keys, right? When I'm here and I finish typing that W, I want to get outside of that quote. So all I do is I hit the right arrow key that moves me outside of it. And then when I do my shift and my closing tag, it put my closing div in for me. But we don't want to get lost on these divs. So we're going to put in our inline comments that says end of row 1. And we're going to put another one in here that says end of row of container. Okay. Now we said we've got 1 row. We need 2 rows. Is this next row inside the first row? No, it's out here. That's the second red box that we're looking at here. So because of that, we're going to find the end of row 1. That happens to be this closing div tag here. And we're going to put in another div class equals row. That put in my closing div for me. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say end of row 2. Now you do all of that, you switch back over to your browser, and we still don't have anything here. Okay, well, that's a little bit of a bummer, but now that we've got all of our rows set up, we can start using our columns. So we're going to put our div class col, C-O-L, but if we go back to our mockup, look at what we've got here. If this is 6, because this is taking up half the screen, these 3 combined must add up to 6, because everything adds up to 12 in the row system. So if this is a 6, this must be a 2 and a 2 and a 2 because they're all equally spaced. So we come back to our code and we say col-2. And then I'm going to put in the word cloud for now. That's just going to be a placeholder for us. If we've done that right, I can put another div class col2 in here and put in the temperature. I go back over to my browser and now look at my layout. It's not pretty yet, but I've got the word cloud and I've got 68 next to it. So we're going to pause there. If you have this working, you are welcome to go on break. If you need help, raise your hand. But before you go, make sure you read over the code and make sure you understand everything that's going on here. You don't have to put these comments in your own unless you find them helpful.
I'm having problems like finding my output window.
Okay. Are you in full screen mode?
No. Let me share my screen.
Sure. And then go and I'll come to you next.
And okay, somebody is sharing.
Oh, you can try it again.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So I don't know if can you see both? Can you see my code?
Just your code.
Okay. So when I play, I hit this.
Nope, wrong play.
Oh, okay.
So go back to your files up here.
Up here.
And then what you want to be doing is going live down in the bottom right.
And so every time I change my code, I have to go live?
Nope, you just have to go live once.
Okay.
Go ahead and click on D4 because that's what we're working in.
Okay.
This D4.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In the drop down at the top where I have it circled in red.
Right here?
Nope. The other.
Oh, with this one?
Yes. Okay, now on your other monitor, that should have opened up your code.
Okay. Yep.
And now whenever you make a change in your file, that browser will automatically update.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep. Agonza.
Hi. So mine, I have no idea where I went wrong.
Okay, share your screen.
So I have right here class container, class row.
Yep. Where does your row end? Where does your row tag end?
Right here.
That's the closing div, but the tag itself on line 8, where's your closing arrow?
Oh, and not in the end. Okay, I gotta be mindful of those.
So you might want to take that one out. I think that one's going to be extra. And
Okay.
now you want to just fix your indentation manually, right? So the columns are the two things inside that row, which means between 14 and 15, you need your closing div.
Okay. Oh, so I need a closing div right here.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm gonna do, Yeah.
Okay, now move that over. Yep. And move the div on 18 over 1. And now you're all caught up.
cool. So it should look something,
Should just say cloud and oh, nope.
yep. That's why I was
Um,
a little confused too.
Here's your problem.
Do you
Your
mind
s-
deleting line 17 if you don't need it also?
We will need it. So that's why I left it in there.
Okay.
Your problem is on line 12. You've got a closing div instead of an opening div.
Uh-huh.
And sorry, I left all my code highlighted. That can make it hard to read it.
So it should look like that.
There you go. You're caught up.
Okay, I gotta be mindful of the closing divs and
Yes.
all the abbreviations, okay.
Jordan, go ahead.
I too do not know where I went wrong. Babe, do you mind muting your monitor? F10. Thank you.
Mhm.
Go ahead with your screen share. First of all, you haven't saved. Did that fix your problem? Sure did.
Is that how it's supposed to display?
Yep.
Oh. Well, then why do you have 2 more lines of code than, or 3 more? I don't
Oh,
know.
I've got an extra row down at the bottom that we haven't used yet.
I don't know. I think mine looks wrong, but okay.
No, so the only thing that I've got this extra row right here that we haven't used yet.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it doesn't show up at all, because that's where we're going to put all the other weather information into.
Okay. Am I all set?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, in your browser, you should just see 68 and then a little white space and then the word cloud. And if you have that, I'm sorry, vice versa. If you have cloud and then a little space and then the number 68, you're all caught up and you can go on break. I'm guessing break's going to be until 7:30, but want to get everyone feeling good about that. And then we will go on break officially. Kalai.
I missed one div at the end of like 19th row. Is that okay for me to add it manually, or is that going to change how it looks? Is it okay?
You can add it manually. Yep.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
And normally in VS Code, if you do the arrow and the slash and you're actually missing a div, it will auto complete the div for you because it knows it's missing.
Getting an output. I haven't, I don't know what I did. But now maybe I minimized the window or something. And I lost my output.
Okay, so you can hit port 5601 down at the bottom, or
I have-
5500 or whatever it is. Just click on that to stop it, and then click
Okay.
on go live again, and it will reopen it for you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, thanks.
No problem. Anyone else need help?
So Max, I missed all of this when I was in the breakout room. I'm just gonna copy and paste it and then look at it in my browser to try to compare it.
Sure. Sounds good.
Thank you.
I'm working on it, Max. I'm gonna try to get it up to speed before I ask you for help. I will, but I want to just
Okay.
continue.
We're gonna go on break. We'll be back at 7:30, and then Archel, if you need help, I'll get you at 7:30.
Fair enough. Thank you.
We want to get our first row really looking the way we want it to, right? So we want to get our temperature showing up, we want to get our information, and we want our location all to show up, right? So that's what we're going to focus on right now. We're going to get all of this content in, and then we're going to go back and be able to style all of it in our CSS. So I'm going to move this off to my other monitor just so I can reference it as we're coding along, and we can kind of see our code as it's coming along. So we already have our cloud and our 68, our temperature. We know that we need another div, and that's going to be the final col2, because that is going to share all of our details, right? So we can say something like precipitation is going to be 55%. The humidity is going to be 40%. And the wind is going to be 10 miles per hour. So I save that, and all of that shows up over here with all of my spelling errors with it as well. Okay. Not quite how we want it to look. I'm sure if we pull our window out a little bit bigger, it's not quite as bad, but that's okay for now. And then finally, we want to put in our location information, right? So we said that was going to be a col6, and we can just drop in our location. So and I think I put in the time at 7:33 p.m. and then I put the current weather conditions, so I said cloudy. Okay, we've got all of this showing up. This looks nothing like this. So what we get to do is we get to start diving into our CSS. We, instead of saying the word cloud, we're going to put in a cloud icon. So we're going to hit Control Command Space, and we're going to pull up the same emoji picker that we used in Figma. And I'm going to do this cloudy icon. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to hit Save. And when I look over here, it's not quite the size that I want it to be. So what we do is we go up to the top. We're going to put in our style tag here. And I need some way to target this cloud icon. So what I do is I come up here and I add an ID. And my ID is going to be called weather icon. Okay, because it's an ID, what character are we going to use up in our CSS to select that?
Pound.
The pound sign. So we're going to say pound weather icon. We're going to put in our curly braces. And because it's an emoji, it's actually considered font. So because of that, we can actually adjust our font size up to something like 48 pixels. And there's our little cloud icon. Okay, it's kind of cool. What about our weather, right? So we are going to say, hey, we're going to put this in a span. Actually, we can put it in a div because we want it to be a block element. And we're going to give this an ID of current temp. Then we come back up here. We add in our current temp. And we say this font size is going to be 48 pixels. So we save, we come over. Now we've got our big bold, our big 68. Okay, we keep going. Supposed to have another div in here with a degree, which we can get from our emoji picker. F and degree Celsius. So I save that, I come back over here. All of a sudden, looks like we've got a UI that's coming together. 68 looks a little big for me. I'm going to bump that down maybe to 36. And maybe we want that to be bold. So we can add a font dash weight of bold. Okay, all of that's coming together. I got two more problems. One, all of this is supposed to show up on its own line. And two, it's supposed to be right aligned. So in order to fix that, all I need to do is put in a line break. And a line break is a self-closing tag. That line break acts like an enter. So you notice over in our code, now that that's all stacked up properly, that's the way I want it to look. But it's still over on this left-hand side. So to fix that, we can actually use another Bootstrap class called text end. And that is going to move the text to the end of the div for us. I know that was a lot. I'm going to pause here so you guys have a minute to catch up. But keep in mind, this is what we were going for. And look, we're pretty close to that. Now, you probably didn't think we could pull all of that off with only 40 lines of code, but with a little custom styling and being creative with our columns and our layout, it's much easier to get the content headed where we want it to go. So I'm going to leave this up on the screen for you guys. I'm going to start a poll. I know that was really fast. We'll give everyone a chance to catch up. If anyone needs help, let me know. Sorry. Even if you do have it working or it's going a little fast for you, make sure that you're going through and making sure that you understand line by line why we're putting it in the way we did. If you think there's a different way or you would have approached it differently, feel free to bring that up.
Max, could you please remind me what the container means?
Yeah, so the container is styling that Bootstrap gives us. What it does is you'll notice that our text doesn't go all the way to the edge of the window here. And it doesn't go all the way to the edge here. So if we go open to a very wide screen, it's not hugging the edge. It's giving us that little bit of margin on the left and right side if the screen is big enough. If we pull that screen size down, you'll see that we end up going right to the edge because there's just not enough space to give us that margin on the side. So the container is coming in from Bootstrap. It is literally containing the rest of our code and
Mhm.
setting us up well to use things like rows and columns.
Okay, thank you.
Got 9 votes in. If anyone needs help or has questions, let me know. Everyone, just a couple more minutes here to parse through this code, and then we'll keep going. Oh, sorry, hands raised. Go ahead. Feel free to call me out on that too if I am just zoning out over here.
Hi, I don't know if I did everything. I did everything and put it in, everything in, but it literally does not look like that. So can I share my screen really quick?
You sure can.
Okay. So I have this and I'm comparing both sides. And but when but this is what I have.
So I do think that you're
Oh wait. Ha 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 ha.
yeah, there you go.
Sometimes I just have okay, cool. Thank you. I'm done.
Yep. Jordan, go ahead.
Mine does not look like that at all. On line 19, what is that?
It is the cloud icon, the cloud emoji.
So let me. How do I get that in there?
You do Control Command Space, and that will pull up the emoji picker, and then you can do a search for cloud and find that.
All right. And then when I pull it up, okay, now that's appearing, but it's not like, it's not centered correctly. I mean, it's just not, I don't know, I must have messed up somewhere that I really can't identify, to be honest.
Just share your screen. Let's take a look. Okay, so scroll up a little bit for me to your where you just put in your cloud. Okay, so you've got the word cloud that you can take out there. And I think you've got an extra closing div that you can take out as well.
Right there?
Yeah. Okay, and then scroll up a little bit for me so I can see your CSS. Other way. Okay, so you've got a capital W for your weather icon in your ID and a lowercase 1 in your CSS.
So right there, you mean?
The W. There you go. And then scroll down. That's the ID that we're matching. So this,
right
because
there.
that was capitalized, the other one has to be capitalized as well.
Okay.
So save and let's look in your browser and see what you're looking at. Okay. Definitely have some problems to solve for there. So let me remote control and we can go through quickly and see what's not lining up. Okay, so you've got your row, your opening, your closing, your opening, your closing, your opening, your closing. Then we've got a col with a missing dash. Believe it or not, that's all it takes. And if we pull this out, you'll see we're almost there. We just need the line breaks. So we come back over here, we come down to here, and we throw in a couple BRs. That makes our code wrap onto different lines, and you're all caught up.
Wow, thank you so much.
No problem. Bobby, go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure I had everything right. Because I didn't have that the little cloud.
Okay, share your screen. Let's take a look. Oh, there we go. It just took a minute. Okay, so everything looks right here. The only thing you need to do is replace the word cloud with an emoji. So if you double click on the word cloud to highlight it on 19, you can hit Control Command Space. That will pull up your emoji picker. Then you can do a search for cloud and pick whichever cloud you would like, and then hit Command S and hop back over to your browser and let's see what it looks like. Ew.
Say it again.
Oh no, that's not right. Okay, we want to switch over to using the live server. Let me request remote control and see where you're at here. Live share. Do you have live server? You do
Hey,
have live
Max.
server. Yep.
Real quick, I had to refresh my participants to see hands up. Do you want to see if anybody wants a breakout room at all, or do you want to wait?
Sure. Does anyone need a breakout?
Yes.
Who was that, Christina?
Yeah. I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Should be good to go. I am trying to figure out why you don't have. So I'm going to open your code in another. I think because you were working on your code in my window, you didn't have the go live button. So I'm going to just go file new window, and then I'm going to go file open folder, and I'm going to open up your my code week 2 day 4. And something of note here for all the students, the go live button doesn't like it when you open up the individual file. It prefers you to open up the folder that the file is in. So when you do that, now you've got your index open, but you've got access to your go live button down here. So if we click go live, that will automatically open it for you and show you everything. And now that you're in live mode, if you make any changes to this, all you need to do is save the file and you'll see it updates in the browser.
Cool.
And thank you for plugging in your laptop as I was going. Just
Yeah.
eases my anxiety. Good work. You're all caught up. You were almost there. It's just that emoji that you were missing.
Yeah. Okay.
Artra.
Yes, I need help putting, so for line 23.
Yep.
Will we put in the symbols for temperature?
Yep.
I need help putting that in.
So if you do just like the emoji picker, you do a Control Command Space and then do a search for degree, DEGREE, and that little tiny circle will pop up and you can double click on it to add it.
All right, so I'm gonna have, you see my screen?
Yep.
All right, so line 23.
Control Command Space.
Space. No. Nope. I did that wrong. Oh no, I did. Hold
Yep.
on.
So just scroll up.
I
You're
was in the
doing
wrong-
it right.
oh, okay.
Control Command Space. and then just scroll up to the top of that, and that's going to get you to the search bar. Other way.
Sorry.
And now up at the top there, you can do a search for degree.
Okay, and the first one is Fahrenheit. So put that in there. And then we did a space, and then
I did the vertical bar there, which is shift and then the button between delete and return.
okay.
And then you can add your Celsius in there as well.
All right, control, command, space. And then just type in degree. And then get the Celsius one.
And save and check it out in your browser.
Okay, Command S, and then where's my browser?
You're good to go. The only thing you're missing is the text end to make the location information show up over on the right. You've got text space end. You need a text dash end.
What line are we talking about?
30
Line 30, text.
dash end.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna get rid of that and put in the dash. All right, save, update.
And you're good to go.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
I think he's missing an BR.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Artrell, if
maybe.
you look on my 3132, I've got some BR tags in there. And those BR tags are kind of pushing everything down for us. By the way, if you're missing a couple of those little things, don't worry about that. Like when you're turning in a homework assignment, I'm not going to like take points off because you missed a BR tag here or there. Like that's not a big deal. It doesn't need to look exactly like it. But turning in your homework is a great opportunity to get feedback on that.
Max, can you show the end product on yours to see if mine matches up?
Sure. Looks something like that.
Mine looks like that, but when I did the text end, it brought it all the way to the end of the page. It doesn't have like that space.
That's fine. If you bring your window open a little bit more, it will probably have a little bit more space towards the end of it. It's just a matter of how much space you have in your browser. Last chance to cry for help. Okay, so we're going to keep going here. All of this is pretty cool, but what if we're still missing this overall look and finish, right? We've got to come down and we've got to do that column, these icons next. But wouldn't it be nice to put a little more finish on it? So what we're going to do is we are going to say, hey, let's target the container. Now the container is a class. It is not a ID. So we need to use a period instead. And then we spell container right. I am able to target that. So I'm able to say, hey, what does it look like if I port a 1px solid black border on everything? Okay, that's kind of nice, but I would like it to be off the top of the screen. What property would I use as part of the CSS box model in order to push that down so it's not all the way up at the top?
Margin.
Margin. Why would I use margin and not padding?
The margin gives it a space between the elements themselves.
Exactly. So if I did padding, my black border would be on the top of the screen still. I want to push everything down, including the border. So that's why I'm going to use margin there. If I used padding there, my black border would still be at the top of the screen. Okay, this looks nice, but maybe it's a little too harsh. What happens if I tune this down a little bit and I say I want it to be gray instead? All right, that's looking pretty good, but I don't really love those square corners. So we can use a property called border radius, and I can put a border radius of like 10 pixels on there. All right, I'm liking that. I can dig that. Maybe let's just see what happens if we put a little padding on there. Let's say 15 px of padding. All right, even better. Now I'd like my cloud icon to be a little bit further over to the right. So this column is probably taking up a little bit more space. If I go to this cloud and I use that same text and property, it's going to move it over for me. But now it's moved over too much. I don't want it all the way over there on the right. So maybe let's try a text center. All right, I can dig that. I'm really liking that weather app. We're going to pause there. I'll dump this code into the live stream channel in case you don't have the live share working. This is our end result that we're going for. We're not done tonight. We still have that bottom row to work on. But for right now, let's just take a break. I'm going to poll here. And again, if you're not following along, that's totally fine. Just make sure that you're going for that understanding. Make sure you understand what the code is on the screen and what each line of that code is doing. Ooh, you guys are speedier than I thought. Anyone have questions or just needs another minute before we keep going?
I need another minute.
Okay, no problem.
Thanks.
So just so I can understand this correctly, so
Yeah.
the style at the top, all of those are just to define the square around it.
Yeah, so this container is the selector. So it is selecting this class down here. And we
Okay.
know that because it's got the period, right? Now, whatever is between these two curly braces is going
Will
to
be the
apply
container.
the styling to this div.
Okay. Okay.
So now we use the CSS properties and the CSS values to adjust the styling that's going to get applied to the container selector, which
Okay.
is selecting the div down here.
Okay. Makes sense.
Good question. Those are the explanations that I'm happy to walk through. So definitely keep asking questions like that. Kalai, go ahead.
I have a question about, because for me, I got precipitation and 55% in a second line, humidity, and then 40% wind together. So I don't know where the mistake is. You want me to share the screen?
So let's try this.
Okay.
Add a BR to the end of each line here.
Okay.
And then the other thing we can do is, depending on your screen size, your window might be small enough where it doesn't have enough room to push it down. So in order to fix that, let's maybe cheat a little bit and make this a col 4 and make this a col 5. Does that add up?
Yeah.
2, 2, 4, and 5. Nope, that's 13. So let's make that a col 4. So we adjusted this to be a 4 instead of a 2, and we made this from a 6 down to a 4. And that shouldn't change anything over here other than just giving this a little bit more room to wrap around.
Yeah.
And if you're still having problems, let me know and you can share your screen.
Sure. Thank you.
Archera.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So I updated it to what I believe is correct, but for lines 15, 16, and 17, underneath my colons, I have that little red squiggle.
So make sure you've got a semicolon on the line above where the red squiggles show up for the first time.
Okay. So after, thank you. So for my gray in line 14, I don't have the semicolon there. So now I'll put it in there. The squiggles went away.
Good to go.
Thank you.
Yep. The semicolon is telling the CSS, hey, this is the end of the line. The next thing coming is going to be another property.
Okay.
All right, we good to move on? Beautiful. All right. Well, believe it or not, the hard part's over. Now we get to have some fun. So between our two rows, I'm going to add something that says HR. That stands for horizontal rule. And that's just going to, or horizontal row. I actually don't know. HR, HTML. Pretty sure it's horizontal rule, but of course they're not going to tell me that. Anyway, it just gives us a line in between the two different sections so that we have a little visual separation. And now we get to get in here and start doing our first div class. And Bootstrap is kind of cool in that if you don't specify a size, it will make all the columns equal sizes and share the space of the row. So that's how we're going to get around having 5 columns, even though 5 doesn't divide by 12 evenly. If we don't specify a size, Bootstrap's going to automatically size it out for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to say text center. Then we're going to come down in here and we're going to do a p tag. And we're going to say Thursday. Then we're going to do another p tag. And Thursday is going to be cloudy because welcome to Syracuse. And then finally, we are going to put in our final p tag that says, what did we say? 68. We'll say it's 68 degrees. Okay, now I save that. I come over here. My icon's a little tiny for my liking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say class equals forecast icon. I'm going to scroll up to my HTML and I'm going to add a forecast icon and make the font size, I don't know, let's say 30px. Yeah, I'll get a little bigger, 36, 36. So this is all centered right now because this is my only column in here. That's okay. We're going to play around with that a little bit. So I'm going to take this whole column, C-O-L. I was missing an L here. So if you typed in C-O, make sure you've got the L there that I was missing. I can take this whole column, copy, and paste it. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to change this to Friday. Just use. And now look what I've got going on. Okay. It's kind of cool. Does that mean that I can paste this a couple more times and then change the day names? And let's get a little creative here. It's Syracuse after all. 30 all the way up to 80, and then, you know, negative 13, and then it's going to be 5 degrees on Monday. You know, typical upstate New York weather. And then we can replace these little icons as well. So it's going to be sunny. Then it's going to be rainy. Then it's going to be a unicorn on Sunday. And then we're going to finish up with a rainbow on Monday. You know, that crazy unicorn weather. We're nearing the end here. So I know this is a natural breaking point, but I just want to get us over this finish line. So pause on your code for a second. If you want to follow along with this, this is a good follow along exercise. we've got a lot of space here between our Thursday, our cloud, and our 68. But I don't really know where that space is coming from, right? I'm kind of confused from that. So as a developer, what I can do is I can right click on the element and drop down to inspect. Now, if you're doing this in Safari, it might be a little different, but over on the right-hand side here, I can actually hover over any of these P tags and see where that space is actually being taken up. So you see that orange-ish color down at the bottom? That's showing me that there's actually margin on all of these items. And if I click on that and scroll all the way down here on the right-hand side, you can see our box model. And you can see the margin on this is actually 16. Well, I don't want any margin on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back over to my code and I'm going to come up to my class here and I'm going to add an ID of forecast row. I am then going to get fancy in my CSS and say, for anything in my forecast row, if you find a P tag, pause there. We use two different selectors here. We're saying find any P tags that are in the forecast row. That means that it won't apply to any other P tags that I may have on my site, only the P tags in the forecast row. I'm going to say the margin bottom on them should be 0. And would you look at that? We've got our finished weather done. Okay, we're going to give you guys a minute to catch up on all of this. Any questions pop up? I'm here. I wanted to get us over that finish line. If you are all done, you are welcome to head out at 8:20-ish, depending on when you guys get all caught up. I will go over all the terms. We'll do our terms generation and definition. Don't forget to fill out the feedback if you have not filled out the feedback this week. That gives us a good gauge of where we're at. No, it's fast, but you guys are doing it, right? It may take you guys a couple minutes to catch up, but look at this website that you just made at the end of week 2. This is something that I would not be afraid to take to an employer and say, hey, look, this is the first website I made. Maybe not unicorns and rainbows, but you know, close enough. All right, I'm going to leave this up on the screen. I'm going to paste this into Slack so you also have it. You guys are welcome to keep working on it. I am going to launch a poll just to see how many people are done. And then we will dive into terms once the vast majority of people are wrapping up and getting it working. Oh, one other thing that I'll say for your homework assignments, it's going to be helpful for 2 things. Let me just do a call 2 here. You're going to want to know the background property. You can do a background color of gray, and that's going to turn the background of that item gray. And the other item that you're probably going to want to use is height. And the height, if you say 300 px, that's going to make it a little bit taller. So those are 2 CSS properties that you may need for the homework tonight or this weekend. Ariel, I don't know if you want to add a note in the assignment for those 2 properties, but I'll just leave a note in here for properties that might be helpful during the assignment. And the last one I'm going to do is font size is like 24 px. And then I'll comment all of that out.
Yeah, I can add those on the outline, you mean? Or on the actual assignment itself?
on the actual assignment itself.
Okay.
And one-on-ones are open. I should have slots available this weekend. And I don't think I have Monday blocked out at all. So if you've got things on Monday that pop up, actually, I'm going to go block that out of my calendar. So, only the morning is available. But if you have, you want to review any of this, even if you're not struggling and just want to talk about where you're at, you are welcome to schedule one-on-one with me. My website is literally just my name. So if you go to maxmathe.ws instead of .com or whatever, it's .ws, you can get access to my calendar right here, and you can go ahead and book that way. Or if you go over to Canvas, up at the top, there is the Calendly links. And if you click into that, you can also get my Calendly link right here and book that way as well. That's if you need help, or if you don't need help and just want to talk, that's also totally fine.
Max, have you looked at the chat?
This is considered a static website because it is not dynamic. In other words, it's not connecting to a database and live updating this weather information. We will be coming back to this project, however, and making it dynamic after you have a week with Ryan and working with APIs. We will come back and make this what is considered a dynamic website. But right now it's static because the information in it doesn't change unless we go in and edit the HTML. Ariel, was there anything else?
Can you explain with the column properties for like people who might have missed it, breakouts, or they weren't here? I know we have a couple people missing today. Can you explain the importance of that regarding the assignment at all? Or is that more of a check-in later after you rewatch this video?
So you'll want to take the mock-up for the assignment, right? So if we look at the assignment in Canvas, if you're looking at this mock-up, you can kind of start looking at this and saying, okay, well, this is clearly 6 columns. So we need to do 12 divided by 6. And we say, this is a 2, this is a 2, this is a 2, right? But then up here, we look at this and we go, all right, this looks like a 9 size column here and a 3 size column over here. Maybe this looks like an 8 size column here and a 4 size column here. So you start identifying this is a row, this big thing here is a row, sponsors is a row, the different boxes in here is a row, and then finally footer is a row. Okay, what goes inside of those rows? Now we start breaking up. This is going to be a col-3. This is going to be a col-9. Okay, what goes on this col-9? Well, I want the text over on the right-hand side, so I'm going to put a text-end on that. So even though this looks like just a really basic wireframe or mock-up, you start to realize that all of the stuff that we did in the weather app tonight with those different column sizes are what we're practicing in the homework assignment for this weekend. Ariel, I feel like you were getting at something. Did I hit at what you were getting at? I don't know if you know you're muted. Okay, well, I'm going to just assume hopefully that I answered the correct question. Go ahead.
So can I share my screen with you?
You can.
Okay, so I'm not sure. So the forecast iron.
Okay, you have
What am I doing wrong?
You got a co, not a col,
Where? Can I-
everywhere. 51, 56, 61, everywhere that you've got a, yeah, that
Oh,
needs
with
to
a
be a
L.
col, yes. Oh, careful, not with the dash dash, yeah.
Okay.
I think that is going to work wonders for your layout. I hope it's going to work wonders.
This is what it looks like now. I don't know if it's right, but hey,
Yeah, that's it.
okay.
The only thing you might be missing is up at the top. I targeted the forecast row and I did a margin bottom. Yeah, you're missing a space between the row and the P.
Oh, okay. And then capitalize the R.
Yep. And now you'll see in your browser, they're all kind of tighter together
Yep.
and you're good to go.
It's crazy how like just one.
Current is spelled wrong on her code as well. I don't know if that matters.
Current?
Current temp.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if she's gonna have a CSS issue with that.
Yeah, your current temp on line 9 is spelled wrong.
Oh yeah.
Lowercase c and then double the R, and that's just going to make your font size a little bit bigger and bolder.
Now I see the difference. Perfect. Thank you.
I apologize. I know you need to, Jordan want to know if they're good to go, if the code's working.
You can. I'm just going to give it 3 more minutes. You're welcome to head out, and then I'm going to start the terms review in 3 minutes. So if you do want to stick around for that, you're welcome to. If not, you're welcome to head out.
To ask quickly in that quarter second here. So it was more of a question of why that was important in the sense of why it was the 2 was not understood for sizing. And
Okay.
I unfortunately got stuck on the mute and I kept hitting it and it kept remuting me. And I just figured you did it intentionally to me. So there's that.
Could have, didn't, but could have. So the 2 is showing the size of the column. So all the columns add up to 12, right? So if we want something to be half the width of the entire row, we're going to do a col 6 on that, because we take 12, we divide it by 2, and that gives us the 6. So if we want something to take up half of the row, we make it a col 6. If we want something to only take up a quarter of the row, we make it a col -3. So if we actually target our col 2 and our col 4s here, we can actually add a border to them. So let's add border 1px solid blue. That makes it easier to kind of see where our columns are. This is a col 2. This col 2 is half the size of this col 4. This col 4 and this col 4 are the same size. 2 plus 2 plus 4 plus 4 all add up to 12. So all that col 2 is doing is it's saying, how wide do we want that column to be? Does that answer the question?
Looks like we're good.
Good. Go ahead.
I think I got the answer. I was asking about how to reschedule or cancel your appointments booked with you. So I found it in the email. Thank you.
Yes, the email will let you cancel anything out or reschedule from there. And just so you guys know, I've got a 3-strike policy. So if you book something and don't show up and you do that 2 more times, you're locked out of one-on-ones for a month. So because we let you guys pick the one-on-one times, and because you can even set up a text message reminder, it's kind of on you guys to show up for them. With that said, there's a reschedule link right inside of that. You can reschedule up until like 2 minutes right before or cancel. And same goes for TAs. We only wait like 5 to 10 minutes, especially if you've booked like a 25-minute appointment. we're only going to wait 5-ish minutes. So you got to really be on time for your one-on-ones. Being a minute late means you are actually really late for them. So respect the TA's time, respect the instructor's time, make sure you put it in your calendar. And if anything pops up and you're like, oh my God, I can't find the email link, but there's an emergency or whatever, you can also just shoot us a message in Slack and be like, cancel my one-on-one, please, gotta go, right? No big deal. We're really flexible on the cancellations, but it's just a respect thing of if you book time with someone, make sure you're there. Alba, go ahead.
I just wanted to see your end product to make sure.
Sure. That's what we got.
Looks good on my end too.
Cool, good work. And then you can always, shrink it down a little bit or pull it back open and it should be relatively okay.
Right, thank you.
Schneider, go ahead.
Well, if you schedule like a 50-minute meeting and it turns out you need like 20 minutes, does that go towards a strike thing or not?
No, but if you end up doing that over and over and over again, we may push you to encourage the 25-minute meeting. In general, I would much rather have 2 25-minute meetings with you in a week than have one 55-minute meeting. With that said, I had a student last cohort who regularly scheduled an hour meeting with me, and there was not a single time in all of the 24 weeks that we met that he did not have 55 minutes worth of questions. So it really depends. If you've got a long question list and you're like, I really want to get Max's opinion on this stuff, feel free to schedule the 55 minutes, but also keep in mind that you're also taking a time slot away from another student that may need it. So in the beginning, I've got a lot of open time slots, but over time, those will diminish as more and more students need help. So just try to be respectful of your time and my time and other students' time. That 55-minute option is there, but unless you really feel like you need extra help, 55 minutes is a really hard time to fill. Trust me, as someone who fills 3 hours of class time, filling 55 minutes of questions, it can be tricky, even for me, Mr. Rambler.
Can I add to that quick and just state, it's best to message the TA on Slack and remind them maybe a day or two in advance so that we know you're accountable. And on top of that, we're like, oh crap, okay. If you tell us in advance what you have going on, like I want to work on CSS or I don't understand this, it really helps us be prepared so you can get out there twice as quick as we can. That's a big thing that worked for me last cohort. And I know some instructors, their calendar does not sync up with their Calendly the way like Max's does because he's a genius.
Yeah,
so that also helps. Just wanted to put that out there.
That's helpful for all the TAs, all the other instructors. You don't have to do that for me. So don't worry about shooting me a Slack message, reminder, or email or anything. And you don't have a list of questions or have an idea of what you want to work on. You don't necessarily have to share that with me in advance, but for any of the other TAs or instructors, that is definitely good advice.
Heard. All good. Thank you.
Cool. Okay, let's dive in the last 5 minutes of class. I know we're cutting it close to the end, but I want to capture any terms that popped up tonight. And then I'll go back through all of the outlines and make sure everything is defined in there before the start of next week. Your homework assignments are already in here. We will make sure your quizzes get graded. I'm going to tonight's outline. What terms popped up during tonight's outline or tonight's exercise, tonight's class?
Well, it was bootstrap for me.
Bootstrap? Yep.
Yeah,
I think
I wasn't here the other day, so.
I think we have that on the term list already. I'll remove it from this one, but you know what? Let me just check. Yep, Bootstrap. HTML, CSS front-end framework used for creating mobile responsive web pages, includes grid systems and components. So we've got that one.
Can you share your screen if you have the outline up, please, Max?
Sorry. I'm grumbling because I hate myself for not sharing it. We've got Bootstrap defined in yesterday's outline. So I will go through the rest of these though and add definitions.
You went over how indentation matters.
Yeah, so indentation, I don't think we've got that defined, but the number of tabs before your code actually starts on a line shows nesting and parent-child relations. In other words, you know that this code is inside another div or HTML element. What else for kind of terms?
Preview mode.
Preview mode, do you mean inspect or go live?
No, to get the properties or to get the first one that you brought up, to get the squares, so we could get an idea of what we have.
Preview is a application installed on the Mac. Helpful for using the markup tools to plan out our divs, rows, calls before we start coding. Give me a quick thumbs up. Was that preview step helpful for you guys, or were you kind of like, nah? Okay.
Nope.
Go ahead.
Sorry, didn't mean to.
Oh, okay.
I was just giving you a thumbs up.
Christina, do you have a question or just giving a thumbs up?
I have a question.
Sure, go for it.
Okay, so I wanted to know, okay. When I right click and view page source on my weather project, there is 180 lines of code or 120. How come there is so much more code on this than what we type in?
Great question. So if we view page source, most of this stuff looks familiar, right? All of this is still the same all the way down until we get to 83 on mine. And you notice it has this comment in here and it says code injected by live server. And then down here, this is actually JavaScript. We won't be learning this exact JavaScript, but we will be learning this language. And what this is doing is making our live refreshes work. So if you wonder how when we hit the save button and you go over to the browser and you don't have to hit refresh, it automatically has updated for us. This is all of the code that makes that live refresh work. So this is what we say injected. In other words, VS Code hijacked our code and put this code inside of our own code to make sure that the live refreshes work.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's good shit.
Schneider, go ahead.
You said this version of JavaScript. What version of JavaScript is this?
I may have misspoke there. We won't like go through JavaScript and be like, hey, let's start with WebSockets, right? Because WebSockets are like this advanced concept in networking and in JavaScript itself. So this is JavaScript. We will be learning JavaScript. We will be learning very similar syntax to this, but we won't be trying to achieve anything like having our page live reload when a file gets saved.
That makes sense. Thank you.
We will be learning a slightly newer version of JavaScript than the syntax that is used here. Like we'll be using const and let instead of var, but we will be learning JavaScript and we'll be learning stuff like working with the DOM and all things coming in 5 weeks.
VAR is outdated?
VAR is outdated, yes.
What the heck? Okay, interesting. Thanks.
Okay, any other terms?
It's not a term, but we talked about the meeting for OpenHack.
Yep, OpenHack.
Now, Max, is Open Hack going to be a monthly thing for this cohort as well?
It is.
Oh, that's awesome, you guys. That is the best opportunity to take advantage of.
It normally is the second Tuesday of every month. There was some scheduling conflict, which is why it got moved to the second Thursday of the month. I'm not sure when it will be, but I'm in touch with the organizer. So we will have an opportunity every month to one up your social skills. And you don't need to bring anything except your laptops to Open Hack. You don't need business cards, although if you have them, that's great. You don't need a resume. You're not going to be interviewing with an employer right then and there, right? This is totally social opportunity to unwind, end of next week, relax, be prepared to talk about what you're learning, be prepared to listen to other people's stories and understand what they are learning. It is just a social opportunity. I don't want you guys to feel like you have to prep for this. Any other terms before I let you guys go for the weekend?
This is just a question.
Yeah.
So for this Open Hack, use just so I'm understanding this correctly, we should bring our computers, our laptops.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity. Like someone will try and show you something, or you might say like, oh, I built this weather app, and someone might say, oh, like, can I look at it, or can I see the code, or so if you're like completely bored, or you're like really socially awkward and you want to just work on some free code camp while you're there, that's totally fine. So I would recommend bringing your laptops, but it is not like a requirement. Some people show up with like projects that they want to work on, and then at the beginning of the Open Hack, we'll all go around in a circle, introduce ourselves, and some people will be like, hey, I'm working on this smart home project, and if anyone knows this particular smart home technology, like, would love to chat with you about that, right? And so it's kind of a good opportunity to be like, take little notes and be like, oh, that sounds interesting. Like, let me go talk to them and see what that project is about. But you don't feel like you need to bring any projects, but if you would like to bring a project, that is certainly in the spirit of Open Hack.
Okay,
Quick
thank you.
question, for the homework,
Yes.
the HTML link and the DSS link, we just copy the path from.
No, you should be able to upload the file in Canvas. And if you did your CSS inside your HTML, you can just upload the HTML. You don't also have to upload the CSS file if it doesn't exist.
I do have both of them, but I should be able to just upload it, or do I just drag it in there?
Either should work.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So looking at it real quick, it does do a file upload. So if you are having problems dragging and dropping, try with the upload and then leave a comment for me or Max to double check if we got to grab the other file from you. It is only allowing one file upload on my end, Max. So unless they're zipping it, it's not letting me do it, but that could be a me thing.
Nope, there's an add another file button.
Oh, well, then that's definitely a me thing. I just wanted to verify if they do have issues, message one of us, somebody, we'll get it from them.
Yeah, so for homework, you can just go to choose file, navigate to your desktop, to your My Code, to whatever you're uploading, hit open. If you do have another CSS file, you can hit add another file and choose it and upload it. You can leave any comments in here for us if you want to, and then you can hit submit assignment there.
Sorry to interrupt quick. I know we're past time. I know people have questions. Can you re-add, if you're willing, properties and attributes to that list? Again, the definitions. Apparently there's some back and forth on going between every day has new terms. So that's something they're looking to add on to this list if possible.
So properties are, let's say
Share your screen,
CSS
please.
properties. They are the design elements that CSS allows you to change,
Are you
customize.
trying to share your screen, Max? I'm sorry.
So CSS properties are these things here, margin bottom, font size, border, margin top, border radius, all of those. If you are curious about all of what all of those are, the CSS cheat sheets, I know there are a couple different ones out there. If you just do a search for CSS cheat sheet, it will show you what all of these different properties are, and give you access to what the values look like. Attributes are the name and values that go inside an opening HTML tag. So the values, the HTML attributes are something like class equals col4. The attribute name that we're using is class, and the attribute value we're using is col-4. We also did IDs in here. Other common attributes are something like style, or when we get into JavaScript, we'll start using like onChange and stuff like that. But an HTML attribute is just a name that equals a quote, and then whatever is in between the quotes is the value for that attribute.
All right, just thank you for adding that.
Anything else? I know we're over already, so I do not blame you for not chiming in. Okay, I'm sorry for keeping you guys. You have an awesome weekend. I am available on Slack or one-on-ones or however you would like to reach me. Otherwise, have a great weekend, and I will see you guys not on Monday. I will see you virtually on Tuesday and Wednesday. Don't forget to add OpenHack to your calendar, 6 p.m. on Thursday. Jennifer, go ahead.
Hey, Max, would you mind staying on with me for a minute?
Sure, not a problem.
I'm trying
Have a good one, everyone.
Thank you.
I have a quick question.
Bye.
Yeah,
Have
go
a
ahead.
good weekend, guys. Sorry.
I think your Calendly is available on Monday, so we can fix a meeting for Monday, right? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for confirming, though.
Okay. Let's see. Karen, did you need to stay on?
I think I can boot her.
Do you want me to stick around or you want me to go?
Either way is fine with me. Oh, no, I cannot remove Karen. If I remove her, she can never come back.
No.
Here, I'll pause the